Welcome to Chasing Limits on Shaw TV. We're here at Winsports Canada Olympic Park for the Men's Alpine Insurance Alberta Cup 5th Series. This is a slalom race today. My name is Paul Stutz, and this is Nigel Loring.
Yeah, Paul, we're here for the fourth installment in the series at Canada Olympic Park. Brisk day at -13. We're ready to run with the second run of the men's slalom.
Tell us about the importance. You know, these are some of the youngest up-and-coming stars on the Alpine circuit in Western Canada here. But this series and these races on chasing those all-important fist points are so important for these young racers.
Yeah, it helps improve their world ranking as they progress along their dreams to become world-class racers or Olympic-class racers. And just these incremental parts are helping them get ahead. Here we have the standings from the first run. You can see in reverse order our top 30. Starting first will be Keegan Sharp out of Panorama. And then going through the list, we'll see the fastest racer actually starting in 30th position.
So they flip the top 30. Typically in the first run, the best racers, the best world ranking are going to start at the top. But to keep things even going into the second run, they reverse that order. So we're going to see the 30th ranked skier starting us off this afternoon here. And our top leader will be our last athlete down the mountain.
That's right. And of course, the 30th place racer has the fastest speed, but the first person out of the gate has a clean course. So they have a little bit of an advantage, even though they're behind in the time.
That is kind of the equalizer, which keeps that competitive. And as we know, in slalom, we're timing down to hundredths of a second.
That's what the sport's about. Yep.
It really is a game of millimeters at this stage, and you can see how close we're so close between that top 30 even, but even more so once we get to the top of the podium there.
That's right.
We can see the first forerunner at the top of the mountain getting ready to start us off this afternoon.
The forerunners are important. They test the track to make sure everything is running smoothly, all the positions, the judges are in place, and everything's functioning, including the timing here. And you can see a good young and up-and-coming racer testing the track as he comes down here through the middle section of the track.
Testing the track out is very important. Typically in many FIS races, we see them send a few of those athletes, and you know what, perfect example right here, as we just saw, one of the gates broke. You know, we have such a hard slope here with the injection. They actually inject water into this hill to prepare it so it's even, and you know what, things happen, and that's the purpose of these forerunners. We can see one of the gates broke there, and we'll have the course crew out to repair that right away.
And you can see as they move down, their gates alternate red and blue. The racers have to make it both their feet and tips around the outside of each of those poles. But of course they want to be as close as they can, because the shortest line between the poles is the fastest to the finish. And here we see the first forerunner successfully completing. And we'll see a bit of a replay here.
You know, it's very important that we see this level of racer getting this exposure. You know, we really have to promote the grassroots levels of ski racing and see these up-and-comers, because these are all the young athletes with World Cup dreams, Olympic dreams. And as you can see here, we are underway. We have Keegan Sharp of Panorama. His brother, Keegan Sharp's actually in our lead today, so you can see definitely a family affair here. Father Mark Sharp's actually one of the World Cup coaches with the Canadian Ski Team for a number of years there. So let's see how Jed's making out in the middle section of this course.
Skiing well. This is Jed's first year in the FIS circuit. Starts at age 16 now, and of course he's now in the rankings with the top of the world. But he's just starting out, kind of earning his stripes, getting some experience here, and successfully he's made it through the finish.
Jed across the line. We'll see how he managed that tight section in the top. You know, it's a bit unique here. The Alberta kids are going to have the home field advantage, but this second run course is set by British Columbian ski team coach Nick Cooper.
Of course, there's a different run for each event. So the first run is one course. They reset the course for the second run, and it's the combined time between the first and the second run. Together, it is your overall aggregate time, and that defines who's going to be at the top of the leaderboard at the end of the day.
We have Adam G halfway down the ski course right now. making some excellent turns. You know what, the guys that are trying to make up on that deficit to catch up with the leaders are going to be the ones really trying to work their way up, coming from 29th place, chipping away at that time deficit he has from the first run.
About 6 seconds difference, so they have a bit of space. But of course, as we get closer to the front of the group, they're going to go. They're going to be a little bit tighter. Good run here for Adam, skiing well.
Adam G across the line. Total time 1:38.05. He was 46.84 in the second run, which puts him in the lead. I take that back. Actually, Jed Hart still has the lead.
Yeah, Jed had a 3/100th disadvantage behind Adam in the first run, but he made it up. Okay, into our next racer here.
Number 25, you're going to notice the bib numbers here are going to seem out of order. Those were their starting numbers from the first run, so they're running in that reverse order. But our third racer down the hill here is Samir Somji.
Samir's really attacking here. You can see that it's quite steep out of the start, although it's quite flat at the bottom. So the racers have all kinds of terrain to contend with, as well as these poles that they have to navigate as quickly as they can.
One of the unique things about the Slalom Hill here at Canada Olympic Park is with that new addition, the Winsport, in partners with a bunch of their executive partners, I guess, have created an amazing atmosphere here with the new addition. And we actually have the vertical now to run Continental Cup races, the NORAM series, which we've seen in the last few years, but as well, even enough vertical drop for Women's World Cup. So the addition to ski racing here right in Calgary is phenomenal.
Yeah, Paul, you mentioned Winsport, of course, Alpine Canada, Alberta Alpine has been integral in pulling this together here, and it brings elite ski racing to the heart of downtown Calgary or within the city limits, so everybody can see this. Fantastic.
As you saw, Samir has taken the lead, and right now we have Ryan Webster, the Baff Alpine Racers on course. A great skiing family. His father Sandy's been in the ski racing industry for an awful long time and supported a lot of these young racers. You know, Ryan is really trying to make his way onto the Alberta Ski Team. That's where a lot of the athletes we see today. They're representatives of the British Columbian and Alberta Ski Teams, and all the young racers from the club teams are chasing them, trying to earn their berth on the provincial team. Ryan Webster across the line, our new leader with a total time of 1:34.82.
Good run for Ryan. Yeah, he's got to be happy with that.
Once we get back to the start, we're going to see Drew Cornell. You can see getting ready. The start is a very important position for a racer. That's not just when you want to be physically prepared, well warmed up with your body, but mentally. You know, all these athletes have a course inspection. They're allowed to take about a half an hour look because the course set is different for every run. So these athletes have to use that time, memorize that entire course, all of those differences in course setting, and take that, bring that focus right to the start gate, and you can see that's paying off.
Yeah, Drew looks like he's really charging here, especially on the bottom part. The track flattens out a little bit there, which is a good mixture so that athletes can be tested their skills on both the steeps and the flats. You can see he's really pushing hard all the way to the finish line. That's a good run for Drew. He'll be happy with that.
You know, that's the name of the game. You really do have to be, Drew's in second place there with a 1:36.46. You know, that's so important. You can't just be using gravity down in the bottom section here. You really need to be making that speed yourself, and that's where all that off-season training in the gym is paying off.
Okay, at the start, Clinton Wood, bib 24, ready to kick out.
Clinton is from Vancouver Ski Team, so obviously we're seeing a good mix of athletes from all over Western Canada, and strong effort out of the start. You know, we really want to see all of these athletes working up for not only their personal best, but to keep pushing that level of skiing to be some of the top up-and-comers from Western Canada, eventually working their way up to North America and then the world.
Yeah, and these young racers, they play by the same rules as the big boys on the World Cup. There's the same equipment, the same gates, the same skis. They just have to get more experience so that they can take straighter, faster lines and improve every time they go down the hill, hoping to get faster and improve their world rankings.
I'm glad you mentioned equipment. Equipment is, in any sport, is going to be a crucial piece of the puzzle. But as I've said before, you know, compare it to auto racing, where you have all of these equipment regulations from the International Ski Federation. So all of these athletes are going to be on the same length of ski, the same width, the same height off the snow, whether they're on different companies. So that keeps it as an even playing field.
Drew is into second place overall. So back up to the top. Dawson Hill, ready to start.
Dawson Hill's out of Panorama. He's Panorama is actually under the, even though in Vermeer, British Columbia, is under the umbrella of the Alberta Alpine Ski Association, which you would definitely know about, Nigel, as the Alberta Alpine president.
That's right, yeah, a strong program there at Panorama there under the leadership of Mark Sharp, as you mentioned earlier. His sons are both in this race today, and there's good racing product coming out of there, and it's exciting to see these young guys come out here to Calgary and show us their stuff.
We still have Ryan Webster of the Baff Alpine Racers in the lead, but I know there's a number of athletes coming down that are in the hunt. Looking forward to seeing what the next racer is going to be able to come through with.
All right. Dawson Hill.
Second place.
Second place. Webster still in the lead.
Our next athlete, Luka Bosnovsky from the Baff Alpine Racers, will catch up in the start. Another one of the local clubs that has had an enormous amount of success. Olympic medalist, I should say, Jan Hudek, as well Thomas Grandy. I guess I'll throw myself.
And of course, yourself, Paul. You were a 10-year veteran on the World Cup as a member of Canada's Alpine Ski Team here. You know this sport well as a slalom specialist.
I definitely grew up racing at all of these hills where a lot of these young athletes are coming from. But actually, in some of the more recent North American Cup slalom races, I had some success here at Canada Olympic Park myself.
So what are these guys, Paul, from your experience in the middle here they're going through? They're fighting as hard as they can to go as fast as they can. They know they may not be able to win, but they're still putting their all in. How mentally do you challenge that, knowing that you may not be able to win, but you still have to go as hard as you can?
You have to be pushing out of the start gate every day, every race, thinking that you can be the best. You know, you have to be putting everything you have into it and trying to create as much speed as possible. We have Luka Bosnovsky across the line.
Luka got bounced around a little bit at the top of the turn there. That was a steep section, and there's a lot of forces on those skis. The skis are razor sharp, yet they need to really work hard to keep the speed up in between the turns. Okay, back to the start. Bib 33, Brody Gray.
You can see those signature yellow bases from the Fisher skis. They've taken a different route away from the typical black bases on the equipment. And you know what? There he is. You can see how on the edge he has to be through the start gate. And what he's done is actually done a full 360-degree turn around that gate to keep him in the mix. That's where we define a ski course is skiing the correct way around each gate, and you can see he's definitely having some trouble through that top section, but by hiking around that top gate, he's still in the mix and will still have a completed time, although his chances of a successful result and the result that he wants are probably not going to work out well for him today.
You're right, Paul, not as fast as he'd hoped to, but legally he's made around all the gates, and that's what counts. You have to finish the race in order to get a result. Once again, it's the combined first and second run time here that determines the overall standing at the end of the day.
We have Brody Gray across the line with a total time of 1:43.59. Obviously with that mistake, won't see him at the top of the leaderboard, but you know what? Another young racer with a bright future, and looking forward to some great results from him tomorrow. We have bib number 34 in the start gate from the Sunshine Ski Club, Angus Musgrave. You can see him preparing, his poles are over the wand, and a strong move out of the start gate there.
Kind of making his way down the upper part of the course here, looking strong. You notice that they contact the poles. The poles are on a hinge that redresses itself, but allows the racer to get their feet as close as possible to the base. And again, taking the shortest distance from pole to pole through to the finish line is going to be the fastest way to go.
And you know, back to equipment, you can see they all have shin pads, they all have helmets, obviously, one of the most important things for any athlete in any sport. But as well, blockers on their poles. You know, those gates are coming at them fast and furious, and they have to be prepared for that impact and keeping safe as well as fast. Across the line for Angus Musgrave, with a total time of 1:35.29, putting him into second place. We still have Ryan Webster at the top of the leaderboard, followed closely by Angus Musgrave, and Dawson Hill taking up third place as we round out our first 10 racers.
Wycom Solutions, a proud supporter of the Chasing Limits series and Alberta Amateur Sports. Visit wycom.ca for details on their full list of communication products and services.
Let's go back to the start, back to the Alberta Fist Slalom race at Canada Olympic Park. You know, events like this slalom race here today wouldn't be possible without the support of all of the volunteers, but as well some of the crucial sponsors.
Yeah, we have Wycom Solutions, and of course the series title Alpine Insurance has done a fantastic job of putting on this series. Let's take a closer look at the leaderboard here and kind of recap of the first 10 that have come down the track. They've done a good job here keeping this race track ready for all the racers in good condition. And we're just looking for that to come up here as we take a look at beautiful winter sport Canada Olympic Park here on a beautiful Saturday here in Calgary.
Another sponsor I would like to thank, obviously Wycom Solutions, for all their help. You know, volunteering, let's talk a little bit more about that. I mean, I know it's obviously a sport where a lot of families are out, families are involved with these young athletes, and without that, volunteers, it wouldn't be possible to run races like this.
Absolutely, sponsors and of course the volunteers too that put this on. Okay,
let's go back to the start. Lewis Darling of Panorama Ski Club out of the start gate. He'll be our 11th skier down the mountain today, bib number 18. You know, in slalom, we see such it's almost a sprint where you could compare it to like the track and field events where, you know, you have to be pushing 100%. Mistakes are going to happen. We know that that's a part of any sport, but it's minimizing those risks and keeping that speed from top to bottom. We have the steeper section at the top of this hill, but as it flattens out, you have to maintain that speed coming across that long flat section at the bottom.
There's roughly about 60 turns that these young racers have to navigate, and as you mentioned earlier, Paul, they have to memorize it from the first run or from their inspection and then perform. And here we threw the finish line, Darling in bib 18.
He has finished this run into first place. Our new leader, Lewis Darling. It's excellent to see, taking over the throne from Ryan Webster after the first 11 racers. We can see, you know what? That's the type of skiing we really want to see, and the type that these young athletes are going to be wanting to perfect as they work their way up to the top of these leaderboards. Number 31 in the start gate, our 12th racer down the hill. Again, in the reverse 30 format, we're going to see our last racer down the hill today as our strongest skier. This is Liam Haines on course.
Liam, a little hesitant coming out of the start there, probably just trying to get into the rhythm of the course. As you can see, there is a rhythm, and the racers really use that to their advantage. They get into that groove, and then they can really go. You see their feet moving back and forth across the slope all the time, keeping their eyes focused on what's coming up ahead.
You can see a wide stance from Lee, and you know, given the course conditions, I mean, the amount of hill prep that's done with the ice injection actually into the water, this ends up being almost an ice rink that they're skiing down. So that stance and that strong platform for balance is going to be important. But, you know, as you said, we're seeing a little bit of that snow coming off his skis, which clean skis is what we're looking for. But Liam Haines across the line with a total time of 1:34.90, 45.55 on that run. We see a little thumbs up from him, but puts him into third place this afternoon at Canada Olympic Park. Sean Terry, our next athlete in the start gate, bib number 29 on course. So definitely keep a look at that. See how clean their skis are in the snow, because that's one way for not just the experts and the coaches and the fellow athletes, but for anyone to be able to see. We can really see the difference in speed when those two skis are making clean arcs on the hill.
Absolutely, and they also have to be thinking about how fast they can get those feet going. It's one thing to be clean, it's another thing to be putting that momentum down the hill. If you turn too much, that's going to be a slower turn than if you straighten it out a little bit. And it's a very fine line between figuring out how to stay in the track and also go as fast as possible.
It's an old expression, pulling the string. You want that tightest line, that shortest distance from start to finish. Across the line, Sean Terry, our new leader. Total time, 138.80. You can see, as we go back to the replay here, some of that aggressive skiing down that pitch is what put him up to the top of the current leaderboard.
All right, back to the top here. We've got Cameron Alexander with the BC Ski Team, Whistler Mountain Ski Club product here, racing at Canada Olympic Park.
He's one of the larger guys. You can see definitely a big stature on his skis. Although on similar equipment, body type is a funny thing in the sport of ski racing. And there we go.
He's out.
That's too bad. That'll be the end of the day for him. But you know what? That's an important thing to talk about. As we talked about it before, you know, hooking a tip, or straddling as they refer to it, is essentially when you are so close on the pin and the tip of your ski goes right on the exact opposite side of the gate. As you can see, it catches his foot, and he is going to be disqualified and no longer in this afternoon's race. I mean, great skiing there. It was too bad to see that after a strong start to his run.
Well, that's slalom racing for you, as they say. It's a matter of centimeters and millimeters, and you have to be that close sometimes, taking chances, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. You miss the gate and you have to pull out.
It happens to the best racers in the world. It is a part of the sport. And let's go back. Kelvin Cochrane of the Baff Alpine Racers on course. Young athlete, also trying to work his way onto the provincial ski team and eventually the Canadian Alpine Ski Team. But a strong racer that we'd really like to see some great results out of here today.
Yeah, he's skiing pretty well. He had a couple bobbles there. If the ski kind of chatters around the gate, you know that it's maybe not quite as clean. Sometimes there's a problem with the snow. We're starting to see a little groove. Sometimes it's that they actually get hooked up on the gate and it kind of trips them. But his lower part looks like he's coming on a lot stronger here.
We can see some very clean turns. As long as he's putting enough power into it, you can see him just trying to milk every bit of speed out of those last few gates. And we have Kelvin Cochrane across the line, total time of 1:33.76. And he is our new leader. I'm sure he'll be happy with that once he sees his result. I want to take a quick look here as we're going to the review. You can see that section where there's a number of multiple gates in a row. These combinations are unique to slalom, where we have hairpins and flushes. Where you see the double gate, that's considered a hairpin, and the two sets of double gates, that is a flush.
Back to the top, we got Patrick Carey from the BC Ski Team, getting ready to start.
Now Patrick, he's actually a Calgary local, which is excellent to see for him, but skis out of the Fernie area, so is part of the BC Ski Team program.
Very interesting, yeah. Carey's, of course, the well-known Calgary family in the ski racing world.
But still one of the hometown boys, and you can see him on course. Again, strong young racer who's working his way down the top section of the mountain here at Canada Olympic Park. Seeing a little bit of rotation from him, which could be resulting in some of that snow flying off his ski. You know, he's definitely working the ski, but sometimes when that upper body and the lower body aren't talking to each other, we can see a bit of a disjunct there. But you know what? Some definite speed coming off the hill. I think we're going to see some quick times out of him today.
Patrick Carey coming to the finish. And through the finish,
Patrick Carey, 132.22, our new leader.
Well done.
We're seeing a lot of these athletes come down into the lead, but that's because they had the advantage over the racers that came before them from the first run. Scrubbed a little bit of snow at the top there, but you know what? Quick, early edge pressure That's another common trend that we talk about in ski racing. Starting your turn early, and that's something anyone can think of at any level. We want to have that full arc, not just the pressure at the bottom of the turn. Marcus Holm, Baff Alpine Racers.
Yep, Marcus doing very well this year. He's had some strong results and kind of middle of the group this after the first run, but definitely charging this second time out, taking lots of chances.
You can see getting tossed around a little bit by the course as we have a number of racers down. You might see some of that course deteriorating a little bit. I know there's course workers lining the hill to keep that an even and fair surface for all these athletes, but it's an outdoor sport. We're definitely going to see weather and snow conditions come into play and affect each and every athlete. But you know what? No problems from Marcus here. He looks strong and fast coming down to the finish line. Marcus Holm into second place, 132.67. Still keeps him on the podium as we have it now in the top three. But you can see maybe that mistake right there. He got a little rotated, a little bit late on the line. And you know what? That's gonna cost him those valuable tenths of a second there that'll keep him off the top of the podium.
That's right, Paul. And that's what this sport, again, is all about, is those hundredths, tenths of a second. And any little mistake you make can really show up in your time at the bottom. Another
Banff Alpine racer here, Sam Wall. We can see he's going to be chasing his teammate down the mountain, but going to be wanting to look for that top spot on the podium. The beauty of working with teams is that course report, the conditions, the course set, all of those things can be radioed up to the start from their coaches, and they'll be able to talk. And as much as it is an individual sport, provinces, teams, and countries at the top level are going to work together where you can definitely help your fellow athletes with success.
Yeah, absolutely, Paul. And as you mentioned, as the conditions, as the race progresses, the conditions actually change. There's a little groove established, and that course report from your teammates or your coaches is so important as you make those decisions coming down the hill, where you can take chances or where you maybe have to just hold back a bit to make it navigate through those tricky turns.
We back to the start, bib number 3, Max Kirshen of the BC Ski Team, a hard-working young athlete that's going to be trying to chip his way from the BC Ski Team and work his way up the ranks. Definitely has those World Cup dreams, as these young athletes all do here.
Yeah, Max's first year of the BC Ski Team, as you say, really working hard, skiing well here at the top. Looks like he's got good rhythm going. A little bit of a bobble there, the ski bumps around. We've got a little bit of disruption in the flow, but he's still holding it together, looking good on the bottom.
You know what, that's exactly what it is. That's the name of the game, is minimizing those mistakes. You know, everyone's going to be carrying speed, but it's those little bobbles. And as we said, we're going down to hundredth of a second here. So you have to be as on point as you can. We got Kirshen across the line to third place, 132.47. Strong skiing, but as we said, you know, some of those small mistakes, even though it's only 100th of a second, that can cost you.
Does add up for sure. And Max has got some valuable experience from his outing today. Makes it to the finish, currently sitting in third place.
Back to the start, Ryan Moffitt of Ontario. Strong start. You know, obviously we're seeing a bit of a nationwide field here. You know, that actually we could see a broken gate there. We might have a bit of a course
almost hold. Interfered with him, but he managed to continue to go. Oh,
some problems there.
He's out.
You know, he really tried to make as much speed as he could over that breakover, but I think went in a little bit too hard with the upper body, and lost his outside footing and booted out, as you will.
You can see that top of that gate snapped off, kind of rolled down, and there it is again. That does happen in slalom. It's quite cold out, so these plastic poles, it's a lot of impact. For a couple hundred miles an hour is the contact speed when they hit that, so it's a lot of force.
We have 20 racers down the mountain, and we got our top 10 at the Canada Olympic Park Men's Alberta Cup Slalom. Let's take a quick break.
YCOM Solutions, a proud supporter of the Chasing Limits Series and Alberta Amateur Sports. Visit ycom.ca for details on their full list of communication products and services.
Welcome back to Chasing Limits at Winsports Canada Olympic Park for the men's Alberta Cup 5th slalom race. Tell me a little bit more, Nigel, about what the Alberta Cup is and how someone could get involved.
The Alberta Cup is a premier racing series here in Alberta, the Alpine Insurance Alberta Cup. And if you want to learn more about how to get involved in ski racing, go to albertaalpine.ca, where we have listings for over 38 clubs around the province, and look for a local ski club that you can get in touch with.
So not just volunteers at races like this is an opportunity for any young athlete at whatever age to get involved in the sport of skiing. It's so great to be able to see what these young athletes, mostly in their teens, on the provincial ski teams, are performing, the level they're performing at. But skiing is a grassroots program right from the ground up.
And it's a family sport. It's something that we do very well here in Alberta and of course in Canada, getting outside, enjoying winter and doing your best to perform at the best level you can. This is what it's all about.
Let's take a look at our leaders now. We have Patrick Carey in first place after 20 racers. We have Sam Wall in second place and Max Kirshenblad of BC in third.
Just 1/4 of a second separates the top 3 racers, but of course we have the top 10 to go, and they have a better advantage coming from their first run. So we'll definitely see that leaderboard change here in the next 10 racers.
So these 10 racers are the fastest from the first run, and they're going to be duking it out in the second leg of the slalom here today, chasing for those valuable fist points, those valuable Alberta Cup points. And we have Lewis Darling of Panorama on course. I apologize, Justin Kelly of Calgary Alpine.
As Paul mentioned, Justin had the 10th fastest time in the first outing, and it looks like he's going hard here in the second, taking all kinds of chances, trying to make as much time advantage as he can as he comes down the middle section of this Canada Olympic Park track.
This local boy obviously will know this hill, and as I mentioned, a British Columbian coach set this course, so may set it more favorably to those athletes. But you know what? Justin's definitely going to have some experience racing and training on this hill, and hopefully he can use that to his advantage. And he can, 131.17 with a big lead, actually a second over Patrick Carey. Justin Kelly, our new leader.
Well done.
From Calgary Alpine. Great skiing in the middle section there. Back to the start, Colin Taylor of the Alberta Ski Team, another Calgarian, formerly of the Baff Alpine Racers, his first year on the Alberta Ski Team.
Colin is actually sitting in 4th in the overall standings of the Alpine Insurance Alberta Cup 5th Series right now, and hoping to gain a couple more points in the standings with today's performance. Strong
skiing out of this top section here. As he moves onto this pitch, we want to not only ski aggressively, but smart to make sure none of those mistakes that are happening has cost some of those people their second run today.
Colin skiing well, maybe reaching a little bit in the middle section. Now he's really in a good form.
You can see a little bobble there. Let's hope that doesn't cost him too much time. Colin Taylor coming onto the bottom section of the slalom here.
Colin through the finish.
131.78. Colin Taylor into second place. Wasn't quite enough to catch Justin Kelly. They're going to have a few seconds here to do some quick course repair. As we can see that side angle, you can really see on the front of the boot his body position there and how aggressive he's skiing. Back to the start, another teammate, another Alberta Ski Team member, Jack Leech, and again, a Calgary local who's going to be chasing his teammate down the hill.
Jack's actually leading the overall series right now, and although he's just a little bit out of the first group there, he's still trying to close that, make sure that he gets his overall title this year in the Alpine Insurance Alberta Cup 5th Series.
Jack Leech, strong slalom skier, you know, has had success at a number of different levels, and is skiing well in this bottom section here. Quick feet.
Very disciplined skiing. Paul, you brought up a good point earlier about how some of the earlier skiers may have been rotating their upper body. You can see with Jack, very disciplined, really letting the legs go, and
Really
attacking the finish.
working that upper body. And that is enough for first place with, again, a tremendous lead, almost a second there, 1:30.24. So taking a 1 second lead over the teammate of his, Colin Taylor. And Justin Kelly.
Good skiing for Jack. He's got to be happy with that performance.
You know, strong body position through that middle section.
So important in slalom, isn't it?
Let's round out the Alberta Alpine Ski Team trifecta here. Another teammate, Ben Legree, out of Startgate. Ben, again, a Calgary local here. It shows that these local athletes have worked their way up to the provincial level and chipping away at these Alberta Cup races, trying to work their way onto the national ski team. Ben Legree, from a very popular skiing family in Alberta here. His father, Bruce, been a longtime supporter of ski racing in Alberta. And we can see those skiing roots have taken their way right down to Ben here, and we're seeing some great slalom skiing out of him.
Very smooth turns out of Ben, you know, and sometimes he's just sneaky fast, I call it.
You can see that. Look at him working, trying to get as much speed as he can out of there, and not quite enough. 1:31.03 into second place behind teammate Jack Leech.
Yeah, it was a good run for Ben, but just not quite good enough to catch his teammate Jack.
But you can see him in the finish line. He's still smiling. He knows that this is just one of the many races on the circuit this year, and he's done a great job and currently sitting on the podium, but guaranteed himself a top 10 result today.
Okay, back to top. Max Pfeiffer there from the BC Ski Team. Whistler just kicking out now. Good first run.
Max Pfeiffer, again, you said Whistler skier. So Whistler, you know, we've seen the athletes come from the big resorts, not just benefit by the variety of skiing they can grow up training on, but just the skiing blood that grows up in those skiing areas like what we have around here in Alberta, but as well Whistler.
A lot of concentration of talent in those resorts.
Excellent downhill skier, and I mentioned downhill slalom is one of the 4 events in ski racing. We have slalom, giant slalom, super G, and downhill working their way up from the most technical to the fastest. But you know, a strong downhill skier here, but no stranger on the slalom hill. Max Pfeiffer, our new leader, 1:30.11. You can see he's got a smile on his face, definitely happy about his slalom skiing this afternoon.
We're moving into the top 5 racers, and I must note there's just 3/4 of a second now that separate from the first run, these top guys. They still have to go 100% in order to be able to hold on to their position and hopefully even advance ahead of their competitors.
Back to the start, bib number 2, Alberta Ski Team once again, Michael Sotart.
Mike's from Snow Valley. Has moved down to Calgary here for the winter just to stay closer to the training environments. Oh, little bobble at the top. But Mike's had some good performances this year. He's been on the podium already at the Alpine Insurance 5th Series last weekend in Nikiska. Did quite well. And here he is charging down the upper steep section of this track.
Mike Sotart, you know, as I was saying, the ski racing families, tremendous ski racing community up in northern Alberta. Edmonton, he's had a podium this year, but growing up in some of the smaller hills like they have in Edmonton has definitely been no disadvantage to him. Strong skier on the Alberta Ski Team, coming down to the finish line. Cross the line, Michael Sotart, our new leader, 1:29.28.
That's a good run for Mike. He'll be happy with that. Just nudges his teammate Jack down a step. Skiing well.
Quick feet through that flush down the middle section there. You know, that's the type of skiing we want to see. That's the type that's going to put these young athletes on the top of the podium, but as well work their way up. Bib number 1, teammate Houston Philp, also of Calgary and the Alberta Ski Team.
Houston won a giant slalom race last weekend at Nikiska in this same series. Has had some troubles finishing this year, but when he does, boy oh boy, he is quick.
Houston Philp, also from a very well-known skiing family. His brother Trevor Phelps skis on the World Cup for Canada, a strong slalom and GS skier. One of our Olympians from the last Olympics, and I think Trevor is definitely keeping an eye on his younger brother, because with skiing like this, he's going to be chasing his brother in no time here on the World Cup.
Excellent form for Houston here through the finish.
Across the line into first place, Houston Phelps, 128.46. Definitely going to be happy with this performance there in the second run. As we go back to the start, the top 3 racers from this morning, we have 2 British Columbians and Albertan. They're all going to be duking it out for the top spot on that podium. But is Houston Phelps' strong run there going to be enough to keep him on the top of the leaderboard? Riley Seeger from British Columbia. Another Whistler boy, as I was saying, 4 event skiers. He's had success in a number of different events, but no stranger here with strong slalom skiing.
Yeah, Riley's brother Brody is also on the national development team, skiing well, but Riley's close on his heels and definitely having a good performance here today.
You can see that strength. These skiers have the build. They spend all summer working as hard as they can to not only be strong and agile and flexible, but aerodynamic. Even in slalom is an important piece of the puzzle here. You can see everyone's wearing tight racing suits, even though it's a little cold. Across the line, Seeger with a time of 1:28.37, our new leader. And that guarantees him a spot on the podium.
Riley obviously happy with that run. Skied very well, a little bobble up there, but held it together.
This middle section, I think, is what clinched his lead there. You can see the direct line he's taking, the quick feet, but wonderful, wonderful skiing out of this British Columbian here. Our second place racer from the first run, number 15, a veteran of the BC Ski Team, Dominic Unterberger.
Dom has been a steady force in slalom ski racing here in Western Canada and in Canada for a number of years, and he's still shown that he can ski very, very quick. He cannot be underestimated on any given day.
He's actually our top ranked skier as far as world ranking goes on the board today, so definitely a favorite going into the race to begin with, but into the second run here, coming from second place. Strong skiing, quick feet across the flats, looking calm and cool. You know, there's no issues with him, nothing extra, nothing that you don't want to see that be costing you time. Just strong, solid skiing across the flats. But is it enough to take over from his teammate Riley Seeger? And yes, it is. Dominic Unterberger, our new leader, but by 4/100ths of a second, 128.33. Well, that shows you how close it is and how close these two teammates are apart from each other.
Paul, you had a good point there earlier on. 100th of a second is equal to 10 centimeters, did you say?
Approximately, yeah. given a racer, given any different race. Our last racer of the day, in first place after the first run, this is Keegan Sharp of the Alberta Ski Team. Skis out of Invermere and skis at Panorama. His brother, we saw Jed, was the first racer out of the gate today. But Keegan, a force to be reckoned with, you know, a strong up-and-comer that I have no doubts we're going to see working his way up the ladder in Canadian ski racing in the next few years.
Keegan made steady progress this year. He had hip surgery in the off-season and he's coming back now into full form. We're really happy to see him skiing so well here today. Hopefully he can keep it going through to the finish. Good form, good rhythm.
Keegan Sharp, bib number 7, across the line. Is it enough? Yes, it is. Our new leader, Keegan Sharp, in first place with a time of 1:27.89, 0.4 of a second ahead of the British Columbians. Although Keegan is a BC resident, we have him on the top of the leaderboard. Alberta Ski Team, Keegan Sharp, our new leader. Back to the start, we got a replay of our leader's second run.
Yeah, Keegan really charged right at the start. Even though he had the advantage out of the first run, you cannot hold up in this sport. Slalom is, as you say, a game of hundredths of a second, and any hesitation will throw you back. So he did not hesitate here at all, Paul.
Complete risk at the top, but smart skiing. I think that's the name of the game. You need to be risking all that. You need to be using those tactics. You need to be putting all of those pieces of the puzzle together, and we see Keegan Sharp, our leader today, putting all of those pieces and ending up on the top. As we look at our leaderboard, the top 3 racers, 2 British Columbians, Riley Seeger and Dominic Unterberger in third and second respectively, but Keegan Sharp at the top at Canada Olympic Park in the slalom race today.
Yeah, we're looking forward to tomorrow's race, of course, but congratulations to the winners and here at the Alpine Insurance Alberta Cup 5th Series.
That shows what these young racers are working towards. Thank you again for everyone and all of your help today. For Nigel Loring, I'm Paul Stutz, and this concludes the 2016 Alpine Insurance Alberta Cup Slalom Race at Winsports, Canada Olympic Park.
Thanks, Paul. It's been a great event.
This is Chasing Limits on Shaw TV, a glimpse into Alberta winter action sports and a look into the athletes and personalities that continue to chase their limits.